Welcome to ECCSC Live. I'm your host, Wali Muhammad. And to my right, as usual, my co-host, Wali, the mighty Wali Muhammad. Brother Wali, once again, sir, my brother, friend, thank you for being here in attendance and for being a valuable member of ECCSC, supporter, friend, and serving to the community and the people. As we sit here, we're saddened by the number of shootings that goes on, because that could be our children in our schools, in our churches, in our mosques. And I look at that and being an organization whose primary focus have been, although it shouldn't be, we've been focusing on violence prevention and what that looks like. Deterring de-escalation, and we tend to do that through mentorship of the young men that we interact with, in hopes that we could get them to see an alternative way, a better way to respond to anger, frustration, disappointment. And so when we see that type of stuff taking place, although it's not our community in particular, and specifically, there's shootings and murders all throughout the communities. Although not mass in nature, they add up nonetheless. So, as an organization that stress peace and violence prevention, we send our shout out or our love out and condolences to the people who lost their lives these senseless shootings. With that being said, Brother Wali, this is a difficult time in America. Our teachers, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Minister Farrakhan, forecasted that would be serious issues such as the ones we're dealing with and encountering right now throughout the nation. And as with a community, our community is already affected by gang, drugs, and violence, quote unquote. This is a heavy thing for us, and sometimes it seems like we get desensitized when we hear about violence and shooting in other communities that's not our own. And peace.
Well, first of all, Brother Tyrone, thank you
Yes, sir.
for the great honor of being here with you again, and to the ECC SC viewers and supporters. Thank you for allowing us into your homes. It is indeed a horrific time in this country. Violence is rampant, and the general disrespect of human life is growing in prevalence. And it is with great sadness to see the loss of life anywhere in such violent and tragic way. However, in Chicago, among our people, it is reported that there were over 70 shootings and 12 murders in Chicago during this weekend. So while our hearts are heavy with grief over the loss of human life, we have to stay focused. Our communities have been socially engineered to produce the violence that we seem to almost naturally perpetuate. We've been trained to hate one another. And so the work of the anti-violence is a big job. And it's more than just, talking to the young brothers or the lit homies. It's more than talking to the little sisters. It's a continuous work. And the support should be something that you should be happy to offer. Since you don't want to get out, you refuse to get out. In fact, most of you are too traumatized to deal with the fruit of your own womb. You should find this brother and help his organization and make sure that he got the necessaries. His mantra with ECCSC is going to take us to save us. We can't keep looking for some other community to do this. Violence is a big job. You want to know how big it is? Why don't you look at the judicial system and the penal institutions of America? How much billions and billions and billions of dollars do these budgets across America represent? It's a big business. The hatred that we have on one another and those who benefit from our hatred. So no, we're not trying to lay blame on anybody in 2019. However, you can't keep sitting there watching this brother on the TV screen and not be seeking a way to help him. He's not in this for no personal gain. This is not about gaining. This is a thankless work. There's no money you can pay him to be out on the streets 1, 2, 3 in the morning talking to our babies, your children, the one that you can't corral no more, the one that tell you shut up. Yeah, you know that one. This is who he talks to. And then he's got a whole community of brothers who suffered incarceration that need work. Well, what better work to do, as you always say, than to go back and clean up that and atone to that which you help perpetuate?
No doubt. Well, brother, you said it wonderfully. This is no joke. This is a serious work. This is a serious mission. For those who are interested in knowing more about ECCSC, visit www.eccSC.info. Everything you need to know is there. You can make it very easy for you. Also, you can visit me at Wali Muhammad on Facebook, Instagram, and you can visit our ex-con for Community and Social Change Facebook page. But ECCSC.info is a great start where you can get the number, the information, and you can leave relevant material as well. And go there and be a part of the organization, be a member. You can also join there as well to be a part of our mailing list. But anyway, Brother Wali, when you talk about the perpetuation of violence and those individuals who are in charge or have been charged with administratively, constitutionally, to protect the citizens, we have the police force with almost a $2 to $3 billion budget, I think. And they have a 23 or less clearance rate on murders. This is not just in Chicago. They have a low clearance rate all over the country. These individuals police us. These individuals are also the individuals who arrest your sons, lock them up, and fill the prisons. Sometimes with the wrong individuals.
Well,
And sometimes with excessive sentencing. Go ahead, brother.
oh, brother, you sparking thought. And that only happens because you're passionate in what you're doing. But as you were speaking, I thought about, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and his minister. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has taught us that we're functional illiterates, meaning that we use words and we don't understand the root of them. So we use words and we really murder words. But as you was talking, my brother, I thought about the word nature. No, not birds and bees and flowers and trees. No. Nature means the law that brings a thing into existence. And as you were speaking, I thought about the nature of policing.
With the origin.
Yes, the law that brought it into existence. Policing was not something that came over on the Mayflower. Policing, its origin was to track down the runaway slave and to bring them back to to the plantation. And it was out of that endeavor. That is where your police departments evolved from. They're not interested in stopping violence. They're only interested in cordoning off violence to make sure that the violence that we taught you to perpetuate stays within the boundaries. This is why in Chicago, whenever our young people want to gather together downtown, it's like they come out in force, because now you're affecting the tourist industry. You're affecting the meat and potatoes, if you will, of Chicago. The administrations have worked for decades to make Chicago a place that you want to visit, particularly in the summertime with the beautiful lakefront and the Buckingham Fountain and the Bean and Millennium Park and all this madness. So don't come down here, Negroes, and remind us of our Negro problem, especially you young ones. So the police are out literally by the hundreds to make sure that the tourists feel safe. They don't give a damn about violence prevention.
So, right. You hear me? And that's the sad part. You know, you have billions spent on not prevention. You have billions spent on the response mechanism. When we're actually out there in these streets, you got organizations that's greater than mine, and I'm humble enough to say that actually been doing this work for 15, 20 years, that never received any resources, funding, and they're doing great work. They go undiscovered. Not that they haven't discovered them. These individuals, just are overlooked because they don't have the pretty political backing that these other ones have. They don't have the liars and the thieves and these people who know how to put forth an application to receive federal funding. They don't have the accountant and the lawyers to help you realize or show you how to attract the federal funds and finances. So these little people are always left on the outside looking in. That's why I'm so happy that we're building things that the public don't necessarily see, that allow us to fuel our own organization. And at some point, I don't even want to be a 501c3. I want to be able to say my business not only funds social services of ECCSE, but my business is the businesses that we produce also hire and employ our men and women in these communities, because in my view, the best right now, although I think spiritual awareness is the greatest, actually being spiritual and righteous, upright is a way to eliminate violence. But how do you put that in the hearts of everyone? I can't say I know. But what I can do immediately is that I know that giving a person a job, an opportunity and training where they feel good about themselves can temporarily, if not do away with, temporarily halt some of the violence that we see or reduce it. Because if a person is prone to violence, it don't matter whether he's with Muhammad or Jesus. You're not stopping a person that would kill himself to kill you.
Now, that is how. How? By what means? By what method? By what way? How do you stop violence? You got to do more than give a young person a job, because most young people today, they don't even have the thought of going to work. They have reached the point, and you taught them, mama, you taught them, daddy, to sit up all day complaining about a job that you hate, being miserable when you leave, miserable when you come back. You know what you were doing? You were feeding in them the desire to never be like you. So they don't want a job. So they're not going to work. However, if you teach them who they are, then that will give them the self-esteem and the sense of self-worth. Well, he may not want a job, but you're brilliant, Brother Tyrone. You know how to teach these young brothers how to create business opportunities for themselves. That's where our children need to be today. We don't need to be training them up to go out and beg for a job. That's over. I saw a young brother in Country Club Hills going to Starbucks on a bike with a tank top on and some shorts. And he walked in there to the counter and told the woman that he was looking for a job.
Wow.
He literally had no clue of what he was doing. And it's not his fault.
It's not his fault.
He knew that whatever he thought he wanted.
It's so sad and funny.
Brother, it was horrible. It was not pleasant. It was not joyful. There wasn't even a source of pride because he literally had no clue. And the woman there, she was kind. She said, well, our applications, you have to fill it out online. In other words, good graciousness, I don't have to interview you. He had no clue. So we have to train our young people up in basic skills. It takes time and resources, family. We got to be trained in basic skills. Yes, sir, no, sir. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Pardon me, may I do this? How do you look? What's your disposition?
Yeah. That's, workplace attitude.
Oh, that's the word I was looking for,
Workplace
brother.
attitude, etiquette, what that is, what that look like, especially in light of this Me Too era and all the other issues of impropriety that's been going on and that has been making the news. So with that being said, it's like, okay, we know that there's something great going on in this country. We're looking at the presidents, the impending elections that will be coming up.
Yes, sir.
We look at our communities, people, because all politics is local. And we never hold these local elected, selected officials accountable for the blight in our community. Yet, brother, each and every day, brother Wali, I watch Arabs take thousands and thousands of dollars up out of the stores in the communities where we stay, never reinvesting, never putting even 10% back for community benefit purposes, for a community that has so enriched them, that has allowed them to send their children to school, that has allowed them to come in our neighborhood and live comfortable lives off our ignorance, bro. Well, at what point then do we tell our children and show our children that there's value in their neighborhoods while they destroy their own community?
What we have to do, in my humble view, is I had a conversation with some Middle Eastern people who ran a store on the South Side. They shall remain anonymous for now. The young man or the older man could not even have a conversation with us out of fear that something was going to happen to him. And then when he found out that we were Muslims, he kind of relaxed some. And I asked him, I said, well, brother, you seem to be on edge and you didn't want to be honest with us at first. He said, no. He said, you never know what's going to happen. I said, oh. I said, so you're telling me that there's great risk here? He said, yes. I say, but evidently the risk is not greater than your desire to enrich yourself by selling the garbage that you sell. He said, that's correct. So in other words, while he was feigning that he was fearful for his well-being, that fear did not override the fact that he knew he was going to make a lot of money that day. And this is what you tolerate. You let him come in your store through your alderman. He called it a grocery store, but there ain't no groceries in there. It's just chips. Cookies, it's just pop.
Yeah.
It's just candy. It's garbage. And you alderman, you let him come in here.
Yes.
Shame on you.
And you allow them to come in with no accountability, not knowing their culture, their ways, their morals, their folkways, their norms. Because if you know their culture, you would know that their religion specifically tells them that they have to give dawah and zakat to the communities that they serve. And that's 10% from what I'm understanding or more.
Well, it's not only, brother, the Arab or Middle Eastern
That's
business
right.
people, it's the Koreans.
Yes.
But it's also, however, it's also the bankers.
Oh, the bank.
Most of y'all don't have no idea that there is federal legislation called the Community Reinvestment Act,
Yes.
where banks, by federal mandate, have to make sure that those underprivileged, underserved, poor people have a chance to secure some of the resources at your local bank to start or perpetuate their businesses. You didn't know that. You can go into a bank right now and say, what's your CRA record? Well, they're not going to tell you, but there's information on the internet where you can pull up the banks and they'll tell you what their grade is. Abysmal, horrible, less than adequate. This is a grading system for banks, but you didn't know that because your bank ain't nothing but a glorified currency exchange.
Or the representatives for you do not teach you that. They go in the neighborhood and have these forums and meetings coming out every month saying your alderman would be here or be there. They don't teach you because most cases they don't even know. I'm going to just tell you the truth. A lot of them don't even know or understand the power that they wield. They instead of them holding these banks accountable or identify legitimate business persons or aspirations so that they can then link those aspirations to some resources.
Right.
Or else get out of our neighborhoods and keep it moving.
Well, this brother, Tyrone, is the great fear of our tormentors. See, they're afraid of you.
Yes.
Because if you have a chance, unfiltered, unfettered, to reach our young people who are the warrior class of our community, if you can reach them with the message that's in your heart and on your mind and get them to love themselves, they already are the natural protectors of the community.
Right.
You understand?
The way they protect a block, ain't no doubt about
Look
it.
here.
No doubt about it.
They'll tell those who don't mean good in our community, get out. This is where we got to get to. When you come in our community, I tell you what you do. Go out to Barrington. Go to Barrington Hills. Go to Lake Zurich. Go to Long Grove.
Ooh.
Go up there and drive around and see how fast before somebody stops you or they call the police and ask you, what are you doing here? But our community is just like anybody can come. Set up. It's okay. The alderman said you was okay. One day, alderman, one day very soon, you're going to be held account for what you have done to contribute to the deplorable, despicable conditions that exist in our community. Believe that.
Great job. See, this is the problem. When we, as a community, don't stand together, we don't take personal responsibility for our community, and as I say, and as ECCSC motto is, it's going to take us to save us. So with that being said, visit my website, www.eccSC.info, and the Facebook page, ECCSC, and also visit me at Tyrone Muhammad on Facebook, ECCSC on Instagram, Facebook, etc. Wallace, real quick, you got any last words?
Thank you, brother, for allowing me to be with you today. And to the listening audience, find my brother. Support his organization. To support him is to support yourself. Thank you.
Once again, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Have a great and safe rest of the week. Peace.